coming up next on The Health Hustle.
I don't even know if this one's going to resonate with you at all because you like Prime. Let's just start there. The next one that I got.
If this is like big words, I'm out.
The words are small, but I guess I don't know.
Okay.
I just don't know if you slow down. So one of my life hacks is walking with ambient noise.
I don't walk.
Ever?
No, I can't. I run too much.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
dude, how many steps do I got today?
Yeah, but they're all running. Okay.
That's what I'm saying. So why would I want to take more by walking? 36,436 steps.
Because the goal is different. You're training when you run. Walking isn't training the body, it's training the mind.
I support you in this.
Okay. Anyways, the life hack is walking with ambient noise. And the reason I say that is because there's something that happens in the brain where you're mindlessly you probably get it running as well.
Yeah.
But
I walk. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. But the brain just kind of has this opportunity to wander, just like you are with your walking, that allows certain connections to happen that wouldn't happen otherwise. I've had it happen so many times that it's not an anomaly, but that walking with ambient noise, some sort of white noise is what I'm saying in that statement, basically allows the brain to just kind of make connections that it wouldn't otherwise, and it's been a game changer for me. Very similar to probably meditation or certain runs that you've been on. Yeah. Is like the mindless activity.
I do a lot of business work on runs, like wild enough. Like I will literally be running and thinking about something, and it'll come to my mind, and I'll just start literally shooting out a text, and done. And then they're like, yeah, and you get deep into the text. Like, what are you doing? I was like, oh, I'm out on a 12-mile run right now. They're like, you're running and texting me right now? I'm like, yeah, this is where I get all my shit done.
I'm in mile 27 right now. I had this great idea.
Mile 27, I had this super good idea. You want to make this business move with me?
What's up, y'all? Corey here, and on this episode, I had a chance to sit down with my guy, Matt Johnson, for round 2. This will be very different than our last conversation. If you want to go back and listen to that previous conversation, it's episode 111, where we talk about his journey into where he started and how he got into becoming an endurance athlete and all the lessons learned along the way. Feel free to go check that one out. But on today's episode, we're going to be talking about our biggest life lessons and life hacks from 2023. I originally had the idea to do this as a solo episode, but we went on a run, and I decided to bring him onto the show because I know there's a lot that we could learn from him as well, and there's actually a peculiar number of overlaps of some of the life lessons and life hacks. And so some of the things that we get into specifically are why failure is important, the single biggest impact on your life, hint, it's related to your relationships, the good side of nicotine, because that totally has a negative stigma around it, walking and lateral eye movement, or in his case, running and lateral eye movement, training for your archetype. That one's very interesting from my buddy Gunther. Why getting an e-bike was probably one of the best purchases that I ever made in this past year. What signing up for something does to your psychology, the one niche to rule them all, that's an interesting topic, and so much more. One last thing, if you're a health or fitness professional and you're having difficulties getting leads, one of the most common reasons that I see this is not having a well-defined niche. If you go to the link in the description, I have a free 3-step process that walks you through exactly how to get clarity on which niche is best suited for you and your business. Without further ado, let's go.
Matt Johnson, welcome to the show for round 2. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, man. I am living my best life. It's 75 degrees and sunny here in Austin, Texas. And we got a shirtless run-in today. We talked about being shirtless on the last podcast. We've been shirtless ever since.
Which could technically be a life hack. I don't even know. Is running shirtless a life hack? Less laundry?
Less laundry. Nipples are not ripped apart, ripped to shreds.
I've heard that. I've never had that happen. People talk about they run a
abs.
marathon and their nipples get like shredded or tender at least. Is that true?
Yeah, dude. Like there are your nipples can get bloody.
Purely because of your shirt?
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many like finisher pictures of guys wearing like white like singlets, and they're just red dots from blood. Yeah.
So being shirtless is a life hack.
Yeah, 100%.
Is there any other ways around that? Other than putting Band-Aids on your nipples? I heard that's a thing.
During my last 100, there's a picture that I have like just caked lube, like white lube, like both of my pecs are just white. I mean, just lube. If you're ever in doubt, just lube it up.
KY jelly?
I mean, yeah, the fire and ice, like it doesn't matter. The moral life hack, right? There's a life hack right there. If you're ever in doubt, use lube.
All right, so just to give people context, it is New Year's Eve.
No.
Or excuse me, Christmas Eve. What am I thinking about? No, that is incorrect. No. What you said is completely incorrect. Fact check. It is Christmas Eve. It is December 24th, 70 degrees, just went on a run. And we decided we're going to do biggest life lessons and best life hacks of 2023. Seeing as when this episode comes out, it'll be just before the New Year's, which will be New Year's Eve. But so life hack number 1, lube in all areas, apparently.
It doesn't matter. Life hack 1, if you ever doubt anything, use lube. Put lube on it.
Great. All right. I want to go on to my next life hack, which is mints and nicotine. So something that I do a lot of, and I know you do a lot of, is I chew a lot of gum and I do a lot of mints, especially when I'm running or doing a lot of any physical activity. I find it's just like the routine of it that gets me in the zone.
Yeah.
But I have found that the majority of the mints or gum that I use have artificial sweeteners, which eventually destroys my gut. I've been on a handful of runs where I had some sort of artificial sweetener, and halfway through it, I'm like gurgle guts and incredibly uncomfortable. So I found Simply Mint, which is one of them, and there's a handful of other ones that don't have a lot of artificial sweeteners in them that are way better. What about you?
I'm a big Zen guy.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. Growing up in the Midwest, I think
Hold on. Tell people what that is.
Zen. Okay, so Zen is a nicotine pouch. I have the 6 milligrams. They have 3 milligrams. It is nothing but nicotine and salt in a pouch. So, the harmful substance here, when people think nicotine, they think tobacco and cigarettes and shit like that. So the harmful substance here is the tobacco plant and all of the shit that gets packed into cigarettes. And, they use like shards of glass and that's why why your lip gets so beat up. So I'm a big Zen guy. There's been lots of studies done recently on nicotine. I can't quote the study, so don't hold me to this. But there was a study, I believe, that was done that they did the number one dopamine drop in a person is sex.
Okay.
The next one is nicotine.
No.
Yes, I read it. I will find it. I will find it. But the dopamine drop that nicotine gives you is second to sex, which is the biggest drop in humans. And I read this study and I started implementing this into my ultras. So 6 milligrams is the highest milligram that you can get in these little tiny nicotine pouches. And what I'll do is when I get into that really dark spot of the ultra, like I'm talking like 70 miles deep, I'll throw 2 of these in for like probably 5 or 10 minutes. And you get this like, euphoric like head rush. Now, I've talked to people before, and like I've talked to a guy where he's like, I put one in at work, and it made me throw up.
I was just gonna say that. I feel like if you did it on a run, I'd be barfing.
Yeah. So, but just like anything, work your way up. They have 3 milligrams of these. They also have 1 milligram gum that you can chew. Traditionally speaking, with my background, I just balls to the wall at all times. So apparently, obviously, that's why I went with a 6er. So, I use this. I use this daily. But like I said, pick your poison. I mean, I was 16 years old. I grew up in the Midwest, and I was having older friends that were buying me, full cans of chew that I was chewing since I was 16. So, I've been using nicotine and tobacco products since I was, 16 years old. That's 12 years. And just recently, obviously, as, more quote unquote healthier options have come out, I've just switched to Zen. I mean, I went through a point too where, a couple of years ago, like during my long runs, I was ripping a vape halfway through to get that nicotine. Like, I'm telling you, this shit would bring me back to life, and I didn't understand it, but like I bought a vape pen and I kept it in my vehicle, and at like the halfway point I would rip a vape. Don't vape. Vaping is lame. Don't do that. It's really bad for you.
That's stupid. Yeah, there's
nicotine.
easier ways. Yeah.
Nicotine.
Well, I think the important lesson there is that I think the nicotine itself is the more important ingredient compared to the tobacco.
If you're out there, you're listening to this, do your own research. You'll find it. I mean, we're not spitting shit here. Like, go online and Google nicotine benefits, nicotine. You know, what's the downside of nicotine? You know, do your own research, but I'm sure you'll come across.
What I found from it, just from personal experience, is that it's very, for me, similar to caffeine. It can be addictive, but it has certain properties about it that helps you focus. It gets you in the zone a little bit. And if you look into the research behind it, it's not the nicotine itself that's honestly the issue. Is it addictive? Sure. But so is caffeine. And so like when you dig into it, it's like use it as a tool to be helpful. But
yeah, I mean, I probably use it more than I should. I mean, I want to say like five times a day. I'll wake up in the morning, I'll have my coffee, I'll throw in a Zen pouch, just kind of kickstart. That's when I do my work in the morning. And then right before a run, right after a run, before a workout, after a workout, and then like 1 in the evening.
I think I only do it now with runs. I actually never forget the first time I ever had nicotine. It was chew. It was like I was in high school or something, and somebody bought me a tin. And there's no question that I had what one would call like nicotine poisoning, where you have way too much.
Yeah.
And I remember putting the chair back in the car.
Yeah.
And like, just so uncomfortable. Just nauseous is like feeling nauseous is one of the worst feelings of all time.
Yes.
And when that waves over you, you're just like,
and it's your whole body, bro. It's like,
yeah.
It's like this. Yeah. Yep.
I've definitely been there. But
yeah. But I mean, like I said, just like anything else, pick your poison. Like we were just talking about this prime, right? Like there's ingredients back here like sucralose, and I completely said that wrong because I'm half dumb, but I can't even pronounce these words, dude. Like this, like in this marketed healthy hydration drink, whatever. Pick your poison.
Which, for the record, that is actually another life hack. If you can't pronounce the word on the,
if you can't pronounce it, you probably shouldn't put it inside of you.
All right. I want to jump back to, so let's bounce back and forth between life lessons and life hacks. So first life hack, obviously, I think nicotine honestly is. I think it's had a lot of bad stigma, but I have found if it's used correctly, it's actually super helpful.
Yeah.
For a lot of reasons.
Yeah. And maybe like a couple glasses of wine as well.
Let's pause on that one for 2 seconds. Lessons. I know you briefly mentioned it when we were on the run. Relationships. There's a piece to getting involved with people, whether it's community relationships, certain people that have the same goals as you. Was there something specific to that you wanted to touch on?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, right? I want to say 99.9% of humans don't like to be alone. And like we are creatures of community. Like we want to have, just like wolves, right? Wolves, like you don't see a lone wolf very often. You see wolves in packs. And I think, one of the biggest lessons this year for me was, building relationships within the community. And, doing the things that we do where we don't work 9 to 5s, where you're I don't want to say it. Fuck. You're an influencer. Fuck.
Anti-influencer.
You're an influencer, or you're an Instagrammer, you're a TikToker, you're an athlete, you're a businessman, you have a podcast, something like that. You can't do those things alone. Like you can't. I mean, if you want to be an Instagram influencer, your whole community is your following. And for me, it was like, okay, how do I take this big following on social media and completely throw it out the fucking window? And because if Wi-Fi goes down, I'm done. Right? Like and that was a big thing for me. So it was like, if Instagram crashes, I have nothing. How do I fix that? That was one of the biggest things in 2023 for me, and it was building a community and nourishing these relationships within that community. And it was, doing sometimes we want to be alone, right? Like we have so much shit going on, and we just, someone's like, hey, come over. We're doing XYZ. We're all hanging out. There's gonna be a bunch of people here, and you're just like, man, like I don't want to go. I want to be by myself right now. And this year for me, it was like, no, like I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go do that. And then you go and you meet, X, which leads to Y and Z, and then your life changes.
And you never would have seen Y and Z had you not shown up for X.
No, 100% not. Yeah. And, do I do that 24/7? Absolutely not. Man, I love my me time.
Totally.
But, being able to say yes more to doing things like that, builds these relationships. And then, you build relationships with your VIPs. And then you build your community with your VIPs.
Totally.
And, that was a big thing for me. Like, you were there at that Hive Mile. I moved to Austin, Texas 10 months ago. We podcasted here. I didn't know a single person. Like, you and I met at Lady Bird. And you're like, hey, we'd love to get on a podcast. Like, we had a similar story. We both, Midwest boys. And I had no one. And then I had 86 people at an event 2 weeks ago. What?
And like a dozen brands or something.
Yeah. So many, brands. Yeah. A whole bunch of brands.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone was there.
Yeah.
It was all of my people were there. And that was like, looking back at that, like, I went home and I sat in that and I'm like, damn, like 10 months? Like in 10 months I had, Eric Henman and I partnered on that. Like Eric and I put together an event with Spirited Hive that brought in 86 people around the city of Austin, Texas.
Cool people too. Like these are not ordinary people. Like everyone there is like amazing. Like amazing humans.
Yeah.
Like,
100%. Brand owners,
for sure.
business owners.
Totally.
I mean, it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was awesome. But like, finding people like that, you had to, number one, like I partnered with Spirited Hive, finding people that wanted to, to host a community event like that. I'm a pawn in the game. I'm just the pawn. To me, it was like I had this idea with Hive where I'm like, hey, like let's throw this event together. And they're like, hell yeah, we're behind you. We'll do it. We'll do it however we can. And then Cisco hits me up as he's working with Eastside Paddle Club. And he's like, hey, we're trying to throw this event together. And I'm like, whoa, we're trying to throw an event. And he's like, dude, let's do it together. I'm like, okay, let's do it. And then that turned into that. And then HVMN. And then, there was so many brands that showed up and Hive and Haslo and we had I don't have any words.
Yeah,
it was crazy, but that only happened because of yeses that I said in 2023. That would have never happened if I wouldn't have went, if I would have said no, if I, anything like that. So
the art of showing up.
Say yes more.
Yeah, I want to piggyback off that because I've had a similar experience since living in Austin. I've been here 2 years now, and I've found that I started trying to build community just like you pretty early on when I got here. And mine honestly started out as literally a walk around Lady Bird River that I was doing. I think it was like every Sunday or something like that. And it was just people like health, fitness, business owners, entrepreneurs, all the people in our space. And now that's a community of over 1,000 people that I've built over the last couple of years just because I showed up. Right? Yeah. Like just because I put myself out there of like, hey, these are the people I want to hang out with and connect with. And now we've pivoted to doing monthly events and they're super fun and a lot of great people show up. Actually, literally yesterday we went to that restaurant picnic with my family and our waitress was actually one of the girls that's been coming to my events. And she's like, oh, hey.
Yeah.
And she had to meet my parents.
And I think about we went to your podcast event.
Yeah. How
many people were there?
Yeah.
35?
Yeah.
40?
Yeah.
We're talking podcast only.
Yes. Purely.
And like-minded people, we hung out, people were connecting, we saunaed, we ice bathed. Like I left that night and I literally called my mom and I'm like, it's a Friday night in Austin. It was like 10 o'clock.
Yeah,
I was on the way home. Like it's 10 o'clock at night. It's Friday in Austin. I just got done sauna and ice bathing. I'm like a year ago, I'd have been
at the bar.
I'd have been at the brewery.
100%.
At the bar.
Yes.
I'd have been, watching football, smashing pizza, which there's nothing wrong with that. But fuck, I really like where I'm at. And that was cool. That came from you. So there's a connection right there, that like, yeah.
Lesson number 1, be careful who you surround yourself with. It's a big one, relationships. All right, back to life hacks. I I got a good one because I feel like you can probably relate to this one now that we've both had this experience. I got my motorcycle stolen. Has it been, I don't know, 7 or 8 months ago now?
My truck locked.
And I know, for real. And so after that, I ended up buying an e-bike, and I've had the e-bike ever since then. And I've lived downtown for a good portion of owning an e-bike. Fucking life hack for so many reasons: parking, mobility, putting hot chicks on the back because there's pegs on it. I don't even got a chance to do that or not. So
I didn't put anyone on the back of your
no.
I was too nervous.
So if you happen to live in a city, I mean, really anywhere where you kind of bop around a bit, it's a total life hack because like it's kind of a loophole to traffic too. Because I don't follow, honestly, the traffic rules, and I can be on the sidewalk or I can be on the street because it goes like 30 miles an hour. For sure, wear a helmet, though, because I'm very worried about my brain. That's actually probably the only thing I'm worried about.
Yeah, I didn't wear a helmet.
Actually, I didn't give it to you, so that's my bad. But
I had Corey's e-bike in my possession like a child. Like I was babysitting it for him for literally, it had to be 2 months.
At least. Yeah.
It had to be at least 2 months. And I zipped around on that freaking e-bike, man. But the crazy thing is, you want to talk about like the power of, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. The crazy thing is that I sold my truck while I had that e-bike. And I thought that like I was going to get a truck like that same day. And I like made a choice. I was like, nah, I'm going to wait for a second. And then it ended up being like 3 weeks without a vehicle. I didn't have a vehicle.
It was that long?
Yeah.
Oh, I had no idea.
It was a while. So I was whipping on the e-bike to like everywhere for like 3 weeks. Dude.
I love it.
I was whipping on that thing because I had it like I had it for probably like the first month, and it just sat in the garage, and I was just taking care of it. And then I sold the truck and was gonna get another one, and it was like no, which I'm glad I waited for this one because I love this one. But I just got really picky, and then I had that e-bike, and I'm like, I'm not rushed.
Yeah.
I'm not rushed. I was this is fine. So then I whipped around on that e-bike for, a good couple weeks.
Dude, I love that thing.
And then I was finally like, yeah, no, like I need to get a vehicle. But like having access to that, super sick. Especially, like I went out with you guys like while you were running.
Content.
I wasn't running. Yeah, getting content and all of that type of stuff. E-bike is a hack.
Yeah.
For sure.
No question. I support anybody that wants to get one, especially the one that I got too, because it's almost like a motorcycle. Like the tires on it are massive.
It's heavy as hell.
Yeah, it's a tank.
Yeah, it's heavy.
It's not your ordinary e-bike. It is legitimately a tank. It was originally made for the beach, actually.
I could see that. It's front-wheel drive as well.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure out how to get it into two-wheel drive.
Oh.
So like when it would rain, I'd like, this shit was terrifying.
Tire spin?
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah. It's damn near a motorcycle. I would love to get a new one at some point. But all right, life lessons. Let's talk about failure for a moment.
Yeah.
I know you have a personal relationship with failure. Where's the life lesson there?
Yeah. Learning to, when you just hear that word failure, it's an instant negative. And to me, like learning in 2023, it was like, I'm not scared to fail at all. Like I will go all in. I will go all in on something. And if I fail, it gives me that opportunity to sit back, reevaluate, and recharge, and then figure out how to do it better. And I think just redefining that relationship with failure was probably the number one thing for me in 2023. Like we talked last on the podcast, like my first failure was Leadville 2022, and that just destroyed me. And then leaning into, like, I had a wonderful year racing. I won the BPN Marathon. I PR'd Ironman Texas 6 days later. But then I got hurt. And I had to sit in that for like 52 days of being hurt and not being able to run. And, obviously, like, getting hurt is a failure because it takes away from everything that I do daily. And sitting in that for a long time and then, learning, okay, now I need to build back better. And then building back to that, going back to Leadville, finishing Leadville, going to my next 100, a month later. And then finding out that during that 100, like I towed the line with 3 fractures in my leg, and, having to pull out of that race. Like I knew I knew the day before that there was like a 2% chance that I was going to finish that race. But I wasn't scared of failing. And I feel like that really, failing in that race, propelled me in a way, I was injured again, back for another 60 days of not running and healing the leg. And it allowed me to become a better content creator. It allowed me to dive deeper into my faith. It allowed me to have so much time to do so many other things. So while I looked at it as a failure, the moment I was sitting in the chair when I said I'm done, was it really a failure? I mean, probably not. I learned.
Yeah.
I learned. I was able to focus my energy elsewhere. Since then I've gained 20,000 followers. Like you and I talked about that, learning how to tell a story, learning how to be more relatable, studying Instagram, studying the algorithms, studying all of that stuff.
Dude, I was just writing about that actually, my newsletter that's going to come out this Tuesday on that exact aspect of being more real, I guess, for lack of a better word, of showing not just the victories, but also the losses as well. Because I think that we have it confused, if we want to talk like a content game, of that we think that the point of the platform is to show the victories and all the success that we've accomplished. When in reality, we're actually just storytelling is really what it comes down to. And part of having a good story is crisis. It's failure.
100%.
It's challenge.
Like we said in that, like when we dropped that reel after the LA 100, win in public, lose in public.
Yeah.
And the biggest one that we took out of that was risk over regret. And that was like that was the end of the reel. It was win in public, lose in public, risk over regret.
Love that.
I would rather take the risk than regret never trying, which is which we could even dive deeper into what we're talking about with ask the fucking question. Just ask, like, gosh. Damn.
Yeah. I think about
It's another life hack right there. Ask the question.
Yeah. To tie on top of that life hack as well, bartering at farmers markets.
Oh.
That's the same thing. Yeah. I can't tell you the number of times I've gone to a farmer's market and I was like, can I do like a buy one, get one? Or I was like, can I get like $2 off of that? Or like just bartering with them just to see what they say, because they're humans, right? Like it's not Whole Foods. They're not going to be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like it's a farmer's market.
Have you ever tried to walk into Whole Foods and be like, hey, can I get this peanut butter for like $2 off? I mean, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
I mean, maybe
just
you could,
honestly.
just
walk up and just be like, hey, I really like this peanut butter.
Yeah.
But I'd really like it if it was $4 instead of $6.
I think shooting your shot actually is arguably one of the greatest life hacks. Most people don't shoot their shot. Most people assume things are the way they are, and that's how it's always been, and that's how it'll always be. Very few people are like, well, what is there a different way?
Yes.
Can I skip the line? Can I ask for a discount? Can I phone a friend? Right? Like very few people recognize that there's always another way, right?
Yeah, 100%. And there's like to add on to that as well is like, yes, shoot your shot and always tell people how you feel. Like, just, if you're feeling, in relationships or in business or in anything like that, just tell someone, like, just don't, like, everyone wants to beat around the bush. Don't beat around the bush. Just if you feel a certain way, tell people like, hey, I think this is a great business decision. Hey, this is like, I'm really uncomfortable with this. Instead of, like, oh yeah, like I guess it's, it's okay. No, like it is as simple as like, which is something I was talking about the other day, like be all in or be all out. You can't put 1 foot in and 1 foot out and expect to get a phenomenal result, because if you're half in and half out, then you're going to get a 50% result. Relate that back to training for like a marathon or something like that, right? If you do a half-ass training block, you're going to have a half-ass fucking race.
Dude, I read something the other day that literally gave me the chills, and it's exactly what you're talking about. And the reason it gave me chills, and I think this happens to a lot of people, is because it so deeply resonates with you. You're like, oh, fuck, like that's me. That's what I needed to hear.
Yeah.
And it was basically a quote saying, shoot to score. And what that means is like, how many times are you just like throwing the ball up and you're like, if it goes in, cool, but if it doesn't, I didn't really actually fully commit to it. So
are you playing to win, or are you playing to hold the lead?
100%,
Yeah.
dude. 100%.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck, how many things in our life in general are we're kind of just like putting that piece of content out there. We don't actually want it to do well, so we didn't actually put our full effort into it because we're afraid that if it doesn't, then that's somehow an attack on our ego.
Yeah.
As opposed to like commit to doing the thing as if you're going to make the shot.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that that's something too that that I've gotten a lot better at. I was talking to a friend the other day, and I was telling her, we were talking about content, and I was like, there was a day, actually you and I talked about this too. I was telling you, I just told her, but I was telling you where it took me like 8 hours to make a reel.
Yeah.
Where it was like kitchen table to island, island to couch, couch to bed, bed to couch, couch to island, island to table, consuming content, trying to figure out this idea, making a video, scratching the whole video, like be perfect.
Yeah.
And that right there is the all-in mentality. And I didn't realize that at the time, but over the past like 3 weeks or so, as we've talked more about this all in or all out, because for me, like 2024 is like I'm all in. If I'm gonna do it, I'm all in. And like leading up to the BPN marathon this year, thank God I won. Like I was not all into that at all. Like thank God that happened. Because I didn't have a good training block. I didn't have a fucking training block at all, to be honest. Like, I had so much shit going on in my life at that time. Like, I shouldn't have won that. I did. Great. But, Ironman Texas, I did Ironman Texas 6 days later. I didn't train for that. Fuck. Like, and for me, it's like, it's looking back on these things where I'm like, dude, like, I'm one blessed dude. Like, I'm blessed. I'm lucky. I'm whatever you want to call it, that like I had the success I did, because the one and only thing that I was all in on this year was the Leadville 100. And I almost fucked that up. But, to me now, like moving into 2024 with all these, massive goals that we have, it's like, all in or all out. And if I'm not all in on it, I'm not going to do it.
It goes back to another life hack that I wanted to touch on, which is sign up for the thing. Like whatever it is, whether it's the course or the coach or the race or whatever it is, like sign up for your thing that you know that you need to do, because even if you don't believe in the moment, which you probably don't, that you could do it or that you could succeed or that whatever your goals and ambitions are actually going to happen, signing up for it's just something to the brain or the mind or spirit or whatever that just gets you moving into a direction towards actually achieving that thing.
You know what that is?
What?
Wait, I just talked with CJ Finley about this. There's a difference in life, and it doesn't matter whether, business, anything like that. There's a difference in life when it comes to training and working out. And I was telling him, I'm like, for me, I will always be training. And what that means is I will always have something on the calendar that is next. Because when you're training, you're dialed. You're 100% in. You're all in. When you're working out, there's nothing on the schedule. I'm going to kind of half-ass it, And that doesn't just go for athletes. Like that goes for people that own business too. Set a fucking goal. Set a goal and begin training.
And have a deadline.
Stop working out. Yeah, 100%. Set a goal. Set a date. Stop working out. Start training.
And that applies for everything. I mean, I could even see how that could be applied to relationships as well. It's like when you set a deadline on maybe wanting to find somebody or wanting to find a spouse or a partner, is like something happens in your psychology. Like let's say this is just a random thought, but like what if you hired, we'll say, a dating coach or relationship coach, or I don't even know what it's called anymore.
It's like Hitch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like think about how that would change the way your brain and psychology and your goals and your ambitions change, right? If that is something you genuinely desire, let's say you genuinely desire to have a family and you're in a position, we'll assume you're in a position in life where you're supportive and you could do it and whatever.
Yeah.
Is like, think about how that changes your psychology. Is like all of a sudden there is an emphasis, there's accountability, there's a goal, there's a deadline.
And what are you doing with that coach? You're investing.
Right.
Your monetary, like let's talk about money.
Yeah.
When it comes down to people giving away their money, that's when they're like, oh, like I'm training.
Yes.
And, so we talk about that a lot with coaching as well. Like, yeah, like this is an investment. Like, yeah, you're going to pay, X amount of dollars per month, but it's an investment
into the future. Totally.
And then you have those people that are like, well, I don't know. And I'm like, okay, well then, you're a person that's working out. You're not training. That's fine. Like 100%, we're not a good fit. And, yeah, I love it.
Sign up for the thing.
Sign up for the thing.
That is a total life hack. Because that's actually exactly how I got into running. So I signed up for the BPN, and all of a sudden now I'm a fucking runner. I don't know.
You did the BPN half?
Yeah, that was the first running.
This year?
Was it this year? No, end of last year. November.
Oh yeah, I did it last year too.
It was end of.
No,
yeah.
It was January.
Was it?
January of 22.
No.
Yeah, I was there. January of 22 and then April of 23.
I've been running that long. That's fucking crazy to me.
Your knees hurt. Your shorts have gotten shorter.
Since I've been hanging out with you. That's for damn sure. Next life lesson that I want to touch on here. I want to talk about the one niche to rule them all. This is a life lesson that I received this year, and because I think this is something that a lot of people struggle with, and so I wanted to make sure to touch on it, is that everyone feels like they're pressured to be the expert on insert your topic, to be a subject matter expert or whatever the case might be. And I feel like a better way that I have found to look at this, because it's really, really hard to be the best at anything. Name your thing. We'll say running or business tycoon or relationship coach or whatever the hell it is. That's really, really hard. And what I've realized, though, is that what's much easier and a lot more fun is to essentially be the niche yourself. Like you are, as cliche as it sounds, the niche, because you have a very unique set of experiences, places you've been, things you've learned, people you've been around, that gives you this very unique way of seeing the world that allows you to differentiate yourself. And so instead of focusing so hard on being like X topic, subject matter, just try to be more authentically you, because there are for sure components about yourself that makes you unique, that allows you to be differentiated from everybody else in the market.
Yeah, 100%. Like there's times that I have related that back to coaching, where it's like, not imposter syndrome, but, I think about, who could I use as an example? Charlie Lawrence, one of my very good friends, is a coach. Just set the 50-mile world record for the fastest 50.
How fast?
Of 4 hours and something for 50 fucking miles.
I can't even run a marathon that fast.
Yeah, welcome to the fucking show, bud. So Charlie's a coach, I'm a coach, and I'm like, man, for example, I'm like, Charlie sets the world record, why should I be coaching people to that same distance? Like, Charlie should be coaching people. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I've won a 50K, but Charlie just set the American world record.
Exactly.
And but with that being said, people hire me because of me.
Exactly.
And people hire Charlie because of Charlie.
Exactly.
They don't hire you for accolades. That's my personal opinion. Your accolades don't fucking matter. Who you are as a person does. People hire me because they want like they want that mentality. Like they
Totally.
want that, suck it the fuck up and get it the fuck done. Like those are the type of people that I have as athletes.
Exactly.
And Charlie, might not be more like that. And then, people that want, all that they care about is like, hey, I want to run really, 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 really fast.
Totally.
That's all I want.
Totally.
Go Charlie.
Totally. That's the point though, right? Is like, there's a lot, we'll just say there's probably a lot of running coaches out there, right?
Yeah.
But I also think that there's space for every single one of them, because there's uniqueness about every single one of them, assuming they have tapped into their own uniqueness.
Same thing as a business when people are like, oh, that's a saturated market. Yeah, but look what you could do. Like think about I think about Jeremy Miller with Switchback Electrolytes.
Mm-hmm.
The supplement market is fucking, there's so many.
Yep.
It is. It's very saturated. They killed it.
I know.
They sold out. They sold everything.
I know.
They made their initial investment back in a month. What?
Yeah, exactly.
So because Jeremy is very good at branding, Brock is very good at branding. The two of them together are a powerhouse. They know what they're doing. It's a saturated market. They killed it because of their brand. It's all about the brand.
Know your uniqueness, which why I mean, we don't have to get too deep into this, but I also think that's why whether business or personal branding is the game what I've come down to realize, especially as somebody, I do marketing. That's what I do. And I've come to realize that branding is the game.
Yeah.
Like if you can build a brand, you can pretty much sell anything.
Yeah. I'd like to right back to the supplements. It's all the same shit. It's in a different package.
100%.
Do you like the package? Yeah. I'm going to buy it. Why do I buy the Prime? Like I bought the Prime. I looked at it. I'm like, dude, that looks so sick. I'm like, I think I'll drink that. And then I read the ingredients on the back and I'm like, oh shit.
This is terrible for you.
This is so bad.
This is
Maybe
horrible.
I should have just got a Gatorade. But look at that. Like look at how cool that looks. It's so cool.
Life hack. I want to get into, I don't even know if this one's going to resonate with you at all because you like Prime. Let's just start there. The next one that I got.
If this is like big words, I'm out.
The words are small, but I guess I don't know.
Okay.
I just don't know if you slow down. So one of my life hacks is walking with ambient noise.
I don't walk.
Ever?
No, I can't. I run too much.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
dude, how many steps do I got today?
Yeah, but they're all running. Okay.
That's what I'm saying. So why would I want to take more by walking? 36,436 steps.
Because the goal is different. You're training when you run. Walking isn't training the body, it's training the mind.
I support you in this.
Okay. Anyways, the life hack is walking with ambient noise. And the reason I say that is because there's something that happens in the brain where you're mindlessly you probably get it running as well.
Yeah.
But
I walk. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. But the brain just kind of has this opportunity to wander, just like you are with your walking, that allows certain connections to happen that wouldn't happen otherwise. I've had it happen so many times that it's not an anomaly, but that walking with ambient noise, some sort of white noise is what I'm saying in that statement, basically allows the brain to just kind of make connections that it wouldn't otherwise, and it's been a game changer for me. Very similar to probably meditation or certain runs that you've been on.
Yeah.
Is like the mindless
I
activity.
do a lot of business work on runs, like wild enough. Like I will literally be running and thinking about something and it'll come to my mind and I'll just start literally shooting out a text and done. And then they're like, yeah, and you get deep into the text. Like, what are you doing? I was like, oh, I'm out on a 12-mile run right now. They're like, you're running and texting me right now? I'm like, yeah, this is where I get all my shit done.
I'm in mile 27 right now. I had this great idea.
Mile 27, I had this super good idea. You want to make this business move with me?
Which is probably true, though. I think it's the same thing because you are good enough
I think
at
walking
running.
is the metaphor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's just slowing down and giving yourself that area to.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
100%. And I honestly, people could probably get it in their car as well. I mean, if you even put just ambient noise or some sort of white noise in the car, like not listening to a podcast or an ebook or whatever, of just white noise in the car, I think a lot of times the same thing happens. I think that it's really comes down to, as they call like lateral eye movement. Basically, when things are moving past the sides of your eyes, it gets the brain moving in a forward direction, and then you just come up with new ideas. Happens all the time.
I'm scared of white noise. It leaves me alone in my thoughts.
Do you have any sleep hacks, by the way? Because you've had some challenges sleeping, right?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I mean, I take sleep support every night. Right now, I'm on a melatonin kick that I want to get off of. I take way too much. I take 10 milligrams of melatonin every night.
Is that a lot? I've never taken it.
That's a lot of melatonin. Usually like 3 to 4 grams.
That's normal?
Yeah.
Damn.
I'm taking 10. Yeah. I love Nightcap. It's called Nightcap. KNIGHTKAP from Creatures of Habit. It's a CBD mixture that I've been using, and it's so good. I tested it with my Whoop data. Sleep longer sleep, deeper sleep, more REM sleep. Everything is just through the roof when I use this Nightcap. So, I don't know if it's this CBD in it. I've taken like CBD pills before and it makes me feel like shit when I wake up. But taking Nightcap it's next level. It's literally a cheat code. Like I messaged the CEO right away on Instagram and I'm like, dude, I don't know what you did, but I'm like, I need 5 packages of this monthly.
Damn.
And yeah, so Nightcap has been my go-to sleep support, but I'm out right now. So now it's melatonin.
Interesting. Yeah,
magnesium,
I've had
magnesium as well.
Yeah, I've had a little difficulty sleeping as of recently. And I feel like I'm doing most of the things like dark, cool, quiet, don't eat too close to bed. but for some reason lately I haven't been sleeping.
See, that's my problem is I eat so much, like we were just talking about today, that like I'm eating right before I get in bed.
Yeah, it's terrible for your sleep.
Yeah. So that, I mean, but I'm hungry all the time. How do I stop eating when I'm hungry?
You need to eat more early, bro.
I know.
Bigger breakfast.
I know. So
I have the same problem.
yeah.
All right. I got another lesson learned this year. Never lie. This is a big one for me. I was actually just writing about this the other day. And I say this not just to other people, but also yourself, I think is actually more important to never lie to. I think so often we conflate what we do or what we did. And honestly, that's only limiting our growth as opposed to being really, truly honest with where you're at in your situation. I actually really kind of stumbled upon it the other day when there's this, I think his name's Elliot. He's on Instagram. I don't know if you've seen him before. He's pretty hardcore, bald guy, does a lot of sales stuff. But he was, this reel was going around. It was basically like 6-pack or you're fired.
Yeah. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Okay. And it seems a little extreme, but really the message comes down to is like if you're not even going to take care of yourself, like if you're not going to be honest enough with yourself to say like, no, I'm not in good shape. Like I'm rather fat or unhealthy or whatever the case might be. If you can't be honest with yourself about where you're truly at in your situation, how can you ever expect to change?
Yeah. Devin Levesque.
Yeah.
Spoke one time and it kind of hit me pretty deep. He's like, we got an application to come work for ProMix. I think it was ProMix. Maybe I'm fucking it up.
That's his supplement company.
Yeah, to come work for ProMix, and the application, we needed a social media manager, and the person comes in, and and I'm like, what do you love to do? And they're like, well, what do you mean? Like, what do you love? Like what do you love to do? Which I'm coming back to, like, don't lie to yourself. Well, I love to design t-shirts. Okay, then we're not going to hire you.
Yeah, you're not going to do that here.
Social media job, So he's like, when someone comes in, it's like, what do you love to do? I love social media. Bang, you're hired. I don't give a shit about anything else. I don't even care what's on your resume. So like what I'm saying is like, like just what you're saying, don't lie to yourself. Like what do you love to do? Find what you love to do and go do it.
Totally. And if you don't know, try a lot of stuff.
And if you don't know, try making t-shirts.
Yeah.
Try running social media.
Totally. Yeah.
So yeah, that was I don't know why, but that came to my mind where it was like, what do you love?
Totally agree. Because I can't tell you the number of times that I've stagnated my own ability to grow and to learn and to become a better human because of the bullshit I was telling myself.
Or how many jobs have you went and got like you fucking hated?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
and you're wasting their time and your time. Everyone's losing in that scenario.
That's how I was in the military. Like my last year in the military, I was a recruiter, and I hated it. Like I woke up and I hated my life. I hated recruiting. I hated it. And, I like that. That's what pushed me out of the military as a whole was recruiting because I hated it so much.
Damn.
And, that was another thing for me is I'm like, what do I like? I know I love to run. I know I love social media. Why am I working as a military recruiter? And then I jumped to Austin, and the rest is history.
And for the record, as a side asterisk on this statement that we're talking about too, I think there is a degree of Matt and I are very lucky to be able to be in positions where we get to really do a lot of things that we love and enjoy. But I also think too, even if you are in the scenario of a recruiter, there's always a reframe of like, if that's providing you the opportunity to maybe do the other things that you want to love.
Yeah.
There's also a framing opportunity there too.
That's why I did it. It's why I did it for so long.
Totally.
I mean, I wasn't like, I didn't, man, like the first six years that I was in the military, I was like, man, like I love this shit. As a young kid, 18 through 25, I was like, man, like this is the best. And, shoot big guns, blow stuff up on top of trucks, like bop, bop, bop. Like this is so sick. But then, like something just changed.
Yeah.
But that was year 6. Like I didn't get out till like year 9. And, so it wasn't like, I'm like, oh, I hate it. See ya. No, I had things to take care of. I had bills. I had houses, and yeah, you always can't jump. But if you hate something, if you hate what you're doing, immediately start to plan your exit.
Yeah, I think,
and align it with what you love.
I can also relate, and I think a lot of people can, in that exact same situation of we very often stay longer than we should in most things in life. Jobs, careers, cities.
That's what I say now. I'm like, why didn't I come to Austin 2 years ago?
100%.
Like I should have done it.
100%.
But everything happens for a reason.
Totally.
Everything lines up for a reason. You know, when it's time, it'll happen.
Life hack. We both don't necessarily love getting in cold water, cold plunge, cold exposure, whatever you want to call it. I'd be curious as to, I mean, I think we're sort of similar on this one. What I have found is that getting in a sauna or hot tub or anything, basically getting hot makes it less, it makes the brain not hate it so much, the idea of getting into cold water. So I found whether it's getting into a sauna, a hot tub, or getting your heart rate really, really high before getting into cold water, all those things I have found basically tricks my brain into thinking, oh, cold water all of a sudden sounds good. And then I can often get myself to get into it. But getting into it straight from like how people get out into it from straight out of bed, like that guy that's done it for like, I think he's at like 300.
He's over a year now.
380 days or
the
something.
Lions guy.
Yeah.
Lions did great on branding on that.
They crushed.
Yeah, that's why
We're talking about a guy on Instagram that's been doing a cold plunge every morning for I think 370, 80 some days like that now. I don't know how he does it because he does it straight out of bed. That's crazy. But if you're not like that psychopath, getting hot or getting your heart rate up, total life hacks to getting into cold water. Do you have anything to add to that one?
You know, there's a you have to commit. Like that, you know, I mean, and there's a lot more factors into that, but like you have to be able to commit. And I was talking to a friend the other day, you know, same thing as we were just talking about with Zen. Do your own damn research. There is nothing but positive things to contrast therapy. Ice, sauna, ice, sauna, ice, sauna, ice. Like I do it almost every single day. I love it. But I was talking with a friend and he's like, how do you do it? He's like, it's cold. Like I can't get in. And I'm like, it's truly as easy as committing. You just have to commit in your mind, like close your fucking eyes, put your hands on the ice bath and go 1, 2, 3, commit. And, you know, but then like think about how much more that helps you with being able to mentally just close your eyes and just commit to something and just go. There's so much more to that than just getting in cold water.
Dude, I learned that from my buddy. Shout out to Daniel Ricciardi. We were in Nashville, Tennessee. And we were at a bar, and within 2 seconds of these girls walking in the bar, he walks over and introduced them. For sure the best looking chicks in the entire bar. And I remember talking to him after that, after we talked to these girls and whatever. And they were fine. They were kind. Nothing happened. No cool story to end that. But basically, I was like, dude, how do you do that? And he goes, I don't let my brain get in the way. And I was like, fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's so much more to that.
Yes.
Like I just said, just commit. Bang. I'm going to do it. And you just get in the water.
Yes.
And then react.
Yes.
And that's how I live my chaotic life. Do and then think.
Yes.
Just go. And then we'll think after.
Which comes back to my last and final life lesson that I wanted to touch on. Less thinking, more doing. That is a mantra. It's actually on my laptop.
Yep.
It's something that I've given stickers out to people for. I've been tagged many times for this, but there's a degree, especially in today's it's crazy. We're in a world where there's so much great information and education, and it's all been democratized. And it's almost got to the point though now where it's like knowledge porn, where we just love to continue to learn without the actual act of doing any of it. And I think it at the end of the day stagnating a lot of people. And I have found that it should really be the majority of the time you should be doing shit, trying stuff and testing it and tasting and experiencing. And then there is a small portion of like, okay, that didn't work. What can I learn? How can I figure out what I need to learn for this next trial? And then continue again back to more doing. But the ratio should be like very high on the doing scale and very low on the thinking scale, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So
that's literally what we just talked about with the ice bath.
Yeah.
Just do.
Yeah.
And then react.
Yes.
And I think that's where that brings us right back to all in or all out. Because when you're halfway in and you put one fucking foot in the water, and you're like, oh, I'm not getting in that. Like, that's cold. You're letting yourself, you know, just go. All in.
You're letting your brain get in the way.
Exactly. All in.
So often our brain gets in the way of so many things, from businesses to dating to content to like, take some action. Anything else you wanted to hit on? Any other life hacks you want to touch on? Life lessons, things we missed?
Man.
The only other one I wanted to touch on real quick was shout out to my buddy Gunther. This was a pretty big life hack for me. You probably know him.
Yeah.
So are you familiar with his like training for your archetype? So basically
no.
what it comes...
I filmed some stuff for him. He
Okay.
does some crazy shit.
He's super smart, dude.
Yeah. He just
And,
had a baby, right?
He did. I'm
Yeah.
going to get him on the podcast show pretty soon. But he basically helps people understand that we're built different, which because we're built different, we should train different. And so he helps people figure out basically what their quote unquote body archetype is and training for that. Since working with him and since talking to him, since having knee injuries and shoulder injuries and all sorts of stuff like most people do, I haven't back squatted in probably a year for that reason exactly, because I understand my body archetype and how I should and should not be training. And not because I think back squats are bad, but just because it's not conducive to how I'm built and the injuries I'm trying to avoid and the things I'm trying to work on. And so something as basic as just understanding your body and your archetype and training accordingly can help prevent a lot of injuries and help you compete better. So
yeah,
that's been a big one for me.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. That's my last one. That's all I got.
That's it.
That's it. Matt Johnson.
Man, that was a quick one.
Thanks for being on the show, brother.
Absolutely, dude. Always love to be here.
Hey friend, thanks for listening to the show, and if you have any feedback for me about the show or any other guests that you'd want to see in the show, definitely shoot me a message. I love engaging with my audience and figuring out how I can provide the best value possible to the people listening to this show. Before you go, I only have one ask of you, and that would be to check out my 3 Tips Tuesday newsletter. It's 3 marketing tips every Tuesday specifically for the health and fitness entrepreneur to help them attract new leads. If you press the link in the description, it'll take you directly to the archive of all my previous newsletters, and you can decide for yourself if it's something for you. If you end up finding it helpful, you can just sign up for the newsletter and you'll get it in your inbox every Tuesday. Thanks again, and keep hustling, my friends.